The Tinderbox by Hans Christian Andersen. A soldier came marching along the high road, left, right, left, right. He had his knapsack on his back and a sword at his side. He had been to the wars and was now returning home. As he walked on, he met a very frightful-looking old witch in the road. Her underlip hung quite down on her breast, and she stopped and said,
"Good evening, soldier. You have a very fine sword and a large knapsack. You are a real soldier, so you shall have as much money as ever you like."
"Thank you, old witch," said the soldier.
"Do you see the large tree?"
said the witch, pointing to a tree which stood beside him.
"Well, it is quite hollow inside, and you must climb to the top, when you will see a hole through which you can let yourself down into the tree to a great depth. I will tie a rope around your body so that I can pull you up again, and you can call out to me."
"But what am I to do down there in that tree?" asked the soldier.
"Get money," she replied, "for you must know that when you reach the ground under the tree, you will find yourself in a large hall, lighted up by 300 lamps. You will then see 3 doors which can be easily opened, for the keys are all in the locks. On entering the first of the chambers to which these doors lead, you will see a large chest standing in the middle of the floor, and upon it a dog seated, with a pair of eyes as large as teacups. But you need not be afraid of him. I will give you my blue checked apron, which you must spread upon the floor, and then boldly seize hold of the dog and place him upon it. You can then open the chest and take from it as many pence as you please. They are only copper pence, but if you would rather have silver money, you must go into the second chamber. Here you will find another dog with eyes as big as mill wheels, but do not let that trouble you. Place him upon my apron, and then take what money you please. If, however, you like gold best, enter the third chamber, where there's yet another chest full of it. The dog who sits on this chest is very dreadful. His eyes are as big as a tower, but do not mind him. If he also is placed upon my apron, he cannot hurt you, and you may take from the chest what gold you will."
"This is not a bad story," said the soldier. "But what am I to give you, you old witch? For of course you do not mean to tell me all of this is for nothing."
"No," said the witch, "but I do not ask for a single penny. Only promise to bring me an old tinderbox, which my grandmother left behind the last time she went down there."
"Very well, I promise. Now tie the rope round my body."
"Here it is," replied the witch, "and here is my blue checked apron."
As soon as the rope was tied, the soldier climbed up the tree and let himself down through the hollow to the ground beneath. And here he found, as the witch had told him, a large hall in which many hundred lamps were all burning. Then he opened the first door. Oh, there sat the dog with the eyes as large as teacups staring at him. "You're a pretty fellow," said the soldier, seizing him and placing him on the witch's apron, while he filled his pockets from the chest with as many pieces as they would hold. Then he closed the lid, seated the dog upon it again, and walked into another chamber. And sure enough, there sat the dog with eyes as big as mill wheels. "You had better not look at me that way," said the soldier. "You will make your eyes water." And then he seated him also upon the apron and opened the chest. But when he saw what a quantity of silver money it contained, he very quickly threw away all the coppers he had taken, and filled his pockets and his knapsack with nothing but silver. Then he went into the third room, and there the dog was really hideous. His eyes were truly as big as towers, and they turned round and round in his head like wheels. "Good morning," said the soldier, touching his cap, for he had never seen such a dog in his life. He thought he had been civil enough, so he placed him on the floor and opened the chest. Good gracious, what a quantity of gold there was! Enough to buy all the sugar sticks of the sweet stuff women, all the tin soldiers, whips, and rocking horses in the world, or even the whole town itself. There was indeed an immense quantity. So the soldier now threw away all the silver money he had taken and filled his pockets and his knapsack with the gold instead. And not only his pockets and his knapsack, but even his cap and boots, so that he could scarcely walk. He was really rich now, so he replaced the dog on the chest, closed the door, and called up through the tree, "Now pull me up, you old witch!"
"Have you the tinderbox?"
asked the witch.
"No, I declare I quite forgot it."
So he went back and fetched the tinderbox, and then the witch drew him up out of the tree, and he stood again in the high road, with his pockets, his knapsack, his cap, and his boots full of gold. "What are you going to do with the tinderbox?" asked the soldier.
"That is nothing to you," replied the witch. "You have the money. Now give me the tinderbox."
"I tell you what," said the soldier, "if you don't tell me what you're going to do with it, I will draw my sword and cut off your head."
"No," said the witch.
The soldier immediately cut off her head, and there she lay on the ground. Then he tied up all his money in her apron and slung it on his back like a bundle, put the tinderbox in his pocket, and walked off to the nearest town. It was a very nice town, and he put up at the best inn and ordered a dinner of all his favorite dishes, for now he was rich and had plenty of money. The servant, who cleaned his boots, thought they certainly were a shabby pair to be worn by such a rich gentleman, for he had not yet bought any new ones. The next day, however, he procured some good clothes and proper boots, so that our soldier soon became known as a fine gentleman, and the people visited him and told him all the wonders that were to be seen in the town, and of the king's beautiful daughter, the princess. "Where can I see her?" asked the soldier. "Oh, she is not to be seen at all," they said. "She lives in a large copper castle, surrounded by walls and towers. No one but the king himself can pass in or out, for there has been a prophecy that she will marry a common soldier, and the king cannot bear to think of such a marriage." "I should very much like to see her," thought the soldier, but he could not obtain permission to do so. However, he passed a very pleasant time, went to the theatre, drove in the king's garden, and gave a great deal of money to the poor, which was very good of him. He remembered what it had been like in the olden times to be without a shilling.